countdown of the top 25 most important Eagles has reached single digits. And today we discuss a key piece of the Eagles defense, linebacker Zach Bond, what continues to make him so important in Vic Fangio's defense. We discuss that and more right here. Welcome into Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL. Ashlyn Sullivan, Barrett Brooks here with you. We're 3 weeks away.
Can you believe it?
From the beginning of training camp. We'll be out there, visors, sunscreen, notepads. We'll be loving it.
Let's go. Let's
right
go.
Right around the corner.
I mean, I can't wait. I mean, you know what? I'm going to change it. I can't wait for the
wait?
weather there, because that weather there, woo, it's intense. You know, that's one of the that's the hottest time during the summer. So those guys are out there running and hitting and everything else. I feel for them. Then I thought about it. No, I don't feel for them, because I had those two-a-days.
There you go.
You know, I was out there and it was so blazing hot outside. We were inside of a pit. I walked, you know what I'm saying, to work and back, both ways, uphill, 2 miles. No.
Back in our day.
Back in our day, yes.
Barrett and I now will be out there just as football fans. He's like, watch this, and we are just delighted to be out there in a couple of weeks. And that brings us to our three-point stance presented by Toyota. The first stance, despite the battle, Tanner McKee, the McKee train, will remain the backup quarterback. The Eagles brought in Andy Dalton, but McKee has been there, done that. This is going to be a very interesting topic in training camp, because Andy Dalton right now is taking second-team reps. But Barrett, I'm going to make the stance right now. I still think McKee is the backup quarterback because they trust him.
I think McKee will be the backup quarterback if he's here. And that's the only thing, you know, you say if he's here. Tanner McKee is what you want. I mean, 6'6", got a rifle in the arm, understand a smart kid, knows how to run this offense, and that's why I think he'll be here. But, you know, always got that trade value. But I think the reason why they brought in a guy like Andy Dalton is simply because he's an older guy, a veteran guy, who's been in the league a long time, ran this offense before. And why wouldn't you have a guy like him to help Jalen along as, you know, he gets to processing this offense? This is a hard offense to learn. Something that's different from him, you know, the last 4 years. You know, he had, you know, a kind of a simplistic type of offense the last 4 years. Now it's a little different, you know, there's deviations in it, and I think Andy Dalton is here to help him along the way. Plus, quarterbacks in your locker room. So I think that's the biggest thing, you know. Cole Payton is a young guy. He's trying to learn from everybody, you know. But I really think Dalton's job is to go in and really help Jalen Hurts along in running this offense, give him little, you know, things that he can use to help him out during the process of learning what to do, how to do it, and doing it at a high level.
If he's there is the key question, Barrett, like you say, because an injury happens in training camp. I know who I'd be calling. It is Tanner McKee. And if I'm Tanner McKee's agent, I'm calling teams saying, this was supposed to be the backup quarterback. Now I have a veteran presence. All of a sudden, I'm third team. I'm not okay with that. Get me somewhere where I can play, and I wouldn't blame Tanner McKee for saying that.
Well, no question. You know, I mean, he's done a lot. He's came in and filled the shoes for Hurts, 2 or 3 times, and played very, very well, with the exception of the last time. You know,
yeah.
But I mean, that was a tough team. You know, and we lost the game. But we were right there at the end. We could have won the game. But I think Tanner McKee understands what his worth is, and they probably reassured him on what's going on and why they're going about this process. I just really think it's more so has everything to do with Jalen Hurts and his ability to learn the offense and go have a veteran presence that can always bounce ideas off as they go forward. Yeah, you have a lot of guys, a lot of coaches in there that can help them out, but it's nothing like having a player that's playing next to you, kind of fill you in from the sidelines.
Right, especially in the film room, as well as we learned stance number 2 here. The camp darlings at receiver will actually make the team this season. Darius Cooper and Elijah Moore have opened eyes in camp before. We talked about this a lot in past training camps, but this year with no A.J. Brown, a really young receiving core, it wouldn't be the craziest idea for 6 receivers to make the team, and Darius Cooper and Elijah Moore tailing the end of the room here.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. And both guys show something this camp. And, you know, I mean, there's actually 10 receivers in that meeting room. That's a lot of receivers, you know, and there's not enough footballs out there for all of them. So when you have a guy like Darius Cooper, who's done everything you asked from, you know, since he's been here, he's been consistent. He got some reps last year. They saw him. He made the team, and he was, a guy they brought in free agency. So they really like him, and he's done what he needs to do. And plus, he's my cousin, too, you know what I'm saying?
That
cousin
helps.
by marriage, too, so that helps, too. Also. But no, I mean, I'm just saying. And then Elijah Moore, he's trying to make it happen. He's trying to fight. He's trying to make sure that he makes this squad, because he's lived under expectations the past couple of years he's been in the NFL. He had a higher ceiling than what he's played at. So maybe he's trying to kindle that and become that receiver that he should be. But it's going to be a lot of problems, with him doing that. You got to understand. I mean, looking at this roster, Johnny Wilson, 6'6", 230-pound wide receiver that does great things in the red zone. A big guy catches everything. So, I mean, he can go out there and make it happen. Then they brought in Dontavian Wicks. I mean, they brought him in. They traded for him. So, he's going to get a burn. And then Lemon's sitting there, a number 1 draft pick, the best receiver in the draft. He's in their meeting room. So they're going to have to work, and I mean, that roster kind of thins out after that, Britton Covey, that's my guy. Oh, my goodness, it's going to be tough for him.
Yeah,
Hollywood Brown, he's also a guy that, we need to look at, see does he still have enough to take the top off the defense? Is he still that guy? So the list goes on as far as receivers in that meeting room. Can you set yourself apart? This is going to be a great time for these receivers to go out there and show, look, I am the guy. Get the ball to me. Can't be having drops. Can't be missing on routes. Got to understand your hot reads, where you're supposed to go. All of these things will be magnified since there's so many talented receivers in the meeting room.
Right. It's such a great point, especially because Johnny Wilson separates from everyone just because of his size. He checks the box there automatically. So we go to stance number 3 here. Backup defensive tackle. Going to be the hardest position to cut during training camp. There's just not a lot of depth at this position, Barrett. You see Jordan Davis. You see Jalen Carter. They're the big guys. We know they're making the team. But after that, it's going to be a bit of a rotation, and there's frankly just not a lot of guys in this meeting room to cut.
No, not a lot of guys at all. I mean, you have guys that have consistently been there that, are actually playing for contracts. You look at Moro Ojomo. He's playing for a contract. And Moro Ojomo balled last year. He had like 6 sacks last year. So he's definitely somebody. He's going to be around. He's going to definitely be in the rotation. Then Ty Robinson, he's a draft pick. I think he was a 3rd rounder. He's got to get together. I talked to him, a couple weeks ago. And, he's ready. He's learned from Clint Hurt. And Clint Hurt said, look, he simplified things. He's showing why he's doing it. He's got to make something happen. Byron Young played a lot last year also, especially on goal line downs in which they're trying to, the team's trying to get first down. He's definitely somebody that's trying to, take his game to the next level. He wants to be around also. How do you, look at that? Gabe Hall's been on this squad for a while, straight from Baylor. Big guy, moves. I called a couple of his games. He can play also. But they have to differentiate themselves. And we already know about O.R. Bernard. I mean, when you bet the house on him, you got to make sure you come out there and play. And I think he's definitely out there showing that he belongs in this NFL. He has all the measurables, explosive, big. But can he learn it and learn at a rate in which they can keep him around? We'll see.
And we are back with our countdown of the top 25 most important Eagles, and we have reached single digits today. So John Clark joins us for today's discussion about number 9, the player on our list. So let's take a look at this list so far. For the 3rd consecutive day, we stay on the defensive side of the ball. Yesterday, it was Jonathan Grenard, and today it is Zach Bond, who burst on the scene during the Super Bowl run and got rewarded with a big new contract. But Barrett, it's just so easy to root for Zach Bond. This is a player we didn't know a lot about. Vic Fangio saw something in him, brought him to Philly, and he has exceeded all expectations.
Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. I didn't know how he saw him being a stand-up linebacker like that. When he was down in New Orleans, he was more so a guy that came and rushed off the end or sub packages. He also played a lot of special teams. He was that type of player. But he saw something that he could be a Mike linebacker in our system, and he's flourished at it. He's a smart kid. He understands what he needs to do to really take the defense to another level. He has a lot of instincts, so that's what makes him really good. So, I mean, I'm glad he saw it because he has definitely rewarded us with 2 really good seasons.
Yes, he has. And, John, we know working with Vic Fangio, the few times that we have, what he wants, he gets. And he wanted Zach Bond in his system, saw something in him, and now Zach Bond is the guy. He's got a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, and I tell you, you're going to be seeing the comfort level of this defense now, guys going into their 3rd year in Vic Fangio's system.
Right.
Zach Bond is one of those guys. You've got Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. They're the veterans of the secondary now, even though they're very young, because of their experience in Vic Fangio's system. So you're going to see a comfort level, the ability to basically freelance a little bit and start to instinctively know everything. And it's second nature for a lot of these guys. Right. But my big question about the linebacking core is when you take Nakobe Dean out of it and you lose Nakobe Dean, to me, he was the best run stopper. He was so comfortable playing behind his old Georgia guys, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, all those guys on the line. He was so good at stopping the run. I ask you, who's going to be the better player against the run, Zach Bond or Jahad Campbell? And are any of them going to be as good as Nakobe Dean was?
Well, it was a noticeable difference when, Nakobe Dean did become the starter. He came in virtually, became a run stopper, and it really helped this defense out a lot. Not to take anything from Jahad Campbell, You know, he just got beat out by, at the time, a guy was playing better than he was. So, I mean, if you look at the defense now, Zach Bond has to be that Mike linebacker, which means he's going to move from being the will linebacker, where he could be very instinctual because he understood what his point was in the defense. He relied on the Kobe Dean to see things and perceive things like, all right, you see that, I'm seeing the same thing, let me go back and do this. Do you have my back? Can he get that same chemistry with Jahad Campbell? Mm-hmm. That's where we're going to see the difference in this defense.
Yes, that's the question I have. Because Zach is so good at reading a play, and then he's able to go sideline to sideline. But is he going to be able to do that now when he has the run responsibilities?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So can he get Jahad Campbell on the same line as his line and see, all right, can they do this subliminally? Like, you know, just like an offensive line. You see something going on, you see a blitz coming, all you got to do is look at the guy next to you, like, oh, you see what I'm seeing. All right, we're going to go ahead and do it. Well, he might do the same thing, with Jahad Campbell. He didn't have to do that with Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean's like, oh, I see that already. Let me go ahead and go because I know he's got my back from the outside. It's got to be vice versa. Can he get that same chemistry with Jahad Campbell? He's a young guy. He's going into his second year. But I think that, the reps that he did have last year, he had about 80 reps. It's really going to help him going into this season. And I really think that those two are the perfect size. Both of them can cover. Can they be that run stopper? We'll see in camp. We'll definitely see in camp.
It was that unspoken language that Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond had, and now you're going to have to overcome that with the loss of Nakobe Dean in free agency, as it's time now for the Birds Lounge presented by Cure Auto Insurance. And we're going to continue this linebacker conversation because, frankly, John, I look at this. Zach Bond is the guy. He is the key contributor. At linebacker, it falls off. Jahad Campbell, there's some questions about his injury heading into training camp. I think Jeremiah Trotter Jr. has done a great job steadying the ship during OTAs, but after that, it gets pretty thin.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like that at some of the positions as well.
Right.
So, you look at safety and then corner a little bit. They've got some depth at corner, but, look at safety. So I do think depth could be an issue at linebacker and safety. But I think when you have the leadership of Zach Bond, and that was something I asked him at the OTAs, are you taking a leadership step? And he said, man, I learned so much from Nakobe Dean. So now it's Zach Bond's linebacking core.
Right.
And so he is a great leader. We have seen that, and he learned from Nakobe Dean. So I'm very confident about this linebacking core. I do think in the beginning there's going to be a little of the, hey, try to get on the same page as far as just being able to look at each other and sense where you are as linebackers and where each is going to be. But I think they're going to get that down. And you've seen under Vic Fangio's defense, they had the youngest defense in the NFL last year. And you see how well they do because they're so well coached under Vic Fangio.
Absolutely. And I do think, with the guys they have after that, I really think that you could look at Trotter as being a starter.
Yeah.
He could come in and be a starter just in case we don't have Campbell back soon enough, Jahad Campbell back soon enough to start the season. He's more than capable of being a starting middle linebacker in the league. And I do think that he has that chemistry also with the guys around him being in this defense 3 years now. Then also, Smile Munden is a guy we don't talk about a lot, although he plays a lot of special teams. But I really do like how he approaches the game. I like how he can go in and be one of those starters also and learn how to be not just a nickel linebacker, but also a run-stopping linebacker. So, he's a special player. A lot of people don't know what he does, but I've seen him play, and I definitely think, coming from Georgia and then being in his defense, he could be somebody that can come in and be a starter also.